Oos, oos.
Well, does that work much better than it used to in the olden days?
Wow. Hey, is this thing on? Hello. Hello.
We're all here.
We're all here. Back from some of us are back from extended leave.
Oh, Vita's here.
Hello,
Vita's
Vita.
Here. Everything came together that time. We hit the button and nothing exploded.
No, that is always a good thing when things do not blow up.
I know it's crazy that we're almost 6 weeks after the park is closed.
I know we're just now here. Oh,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, 6 weeks of doldrums and depression.
Welcome
Not
to the
okay with
we wish we had Holiday in the Park edition.
Right.
Yeah, that would be great. So we're up to, according to the screen, we're about 8 people so far. So
Come on,
they're
it's a Monday
trickling in.
night.
It's a Monday night. Plus, they can watch the replay when we post it on our YouTube channel and put it up in the group. So, well, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are really here to kind of recap the 2025 season. We'll talk a little bit about 2026, some of the changes that we know are going on, some stuff's going on with the dining plan. We're going to have Kirk talk about his little series he's been doing, the history of the park. I don't know do you have an official name for it, Kirk? Or
I don't. It's just like whatever I decide to post. The biggest thing is this is just the series of removed rides, but there's no official name.
Okay, great. The show that might be named later or not named at all.
There you go. The unofficial park historian over there.
Yeah, it's fun. I will say that it has been a lot more fun than I had anticipated, looking at the park's history and hearing many stories from previous employees and guests from back in the day.
That's the thing that you're so incredible at, is finding those rabbit holes where you've all of a sudden gotten into contact with manufacturers of old rides and old employees, and you're doing a fantastic job. It's just been a great trip down memory lane this off season.
It's been a lot of fun. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, let's kind of talk, 2025. It seems so long ago, but really it's about 6 weeks ago. We got a new ride this year.
Yeah, a little bit. And the sky didn't fall.
The sky didn't fall.
Yeah, and really, I will say that the weather for Fright Fest was amazing up until the end. In past years, we've had snow, we've had a lot of rain, and really, the weather was great this season.
Yeah, and even Lars the Lumberjack even came out to play once or twice with the media.
That was fun, I must say.
If anything, the weather, got crazy hot in the summer. We had too much heat too far into Fright Fest for my liking, which was an unusual problem to have.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah, I felt bad for the scare actors, some of the costumes, the makeup, blood, sweat, tears went on, but that was just a little too hot, too long. But we really went from like hot to freezing. It's really what happened. What happened there.
Yeah, even if the park was still open, we would have had some closures. This is not Holiday in the Park weather.
No.
Yeah, this is go straight from Raging Bull to surgery weather right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but it was a really, really great year. Wrath is such a it's just changed the whole landscape of the park. And even still, if you haven't driven by, it has a special holiday lighting package on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Skytrack Tower with the tree up top and the eagle with its lights.
What I loved, just seeing all of the new things that Fright Fest brought for this year. That I hope that continues to bring in more for 2026, because it's been a long time since, other than Holiday in the Park, that the Snowshoe Saloon was used, and so bringing that back. And from what I heard, that there were people had to line up quite a bit early to go to that show, because due to the limited seating, it was a full house almost every show. And
great
just
place for some character dining.
Correct. I mean, to see some of these areas being used again, the live music in the beer garden at Yukon Barbecue, just to see, I think a lot of those shows and those small things that are coming back. Let's hope that continues into 2026 for the 50th.
Yeah,
Rebecca brings up something.
I love like we've been looking at some of those archival videos, and one of them I got a screenshot and it was the same exact mural at Snowshoe Saloon that's there now. So it's like a big piece of the park history, and it would be nice to see if like the actual drink counter could come back, and the places where you could tell that there was food service, some of that could come back. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. Those old park maps, a little funny story. So the first time that we were in the parade and going through, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And I just noticed that all of these park maps from the very beginning to the most recent years were on the fence over by where Hangover used to be. I was so enthralled by that. And it was so cool to know, number one, that they were up to look at, but how old they were, and that the fact that they were kept. Like, how cool was that to look it was almost like an extension of the ride graveyard.
I was hanging out by those for sure. And then every now and again during Fright Fest, I would step over to the van parked near the seating in front of Johnny Rockets, because there was an activation with the lantern. You could set a bunch of smoke out of it, and it would really freak people out. It was fun.
No, we had in Yukon, we had one that sprayed water. And,
yes.
Creamy Lou was a great host in that area. He brought the guests over.
I would bring the guests over, and I'm not gonna lie, some of those weekends where it was hot, I would stand right in the middle of that rapid fire of the water.
Yes, I definitely had a couple people where they walked up, and I was just hitting that button saying go 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 go, and then it would fire right then.
I will say, I think the coolest one that I saw with the activation was the one that was over in Hometown. They had the bubbles that came out.
Yep, the pumpkin spice bubbles.
The pumpkin spice bubbles.
The only thing I felt bad for were the people who sat down on those benches for a little relaxation. They would sit down there and and then they'd hear that music 20, 30 times.
I didn't actually even know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's so on the sides of the sound hut, on either side there were two machines that would spin up bubbles, and they were full of a pumpkin spice scented smoke that was hopefully non-toxic, because my daughter was inhaling them.
I will say the one other thing that I really enjoyed during Fright Fest, and it was I give the park credit for this, is that they heard the feedback of that first month with like the lack of the Halloween music in the park, decorations, and they really went all out for that last month, and they brought a lot of those things back that people missed. And I thought, considering that's hard to do in the middle of Fright Fest to change things up, that was great. Like, in the middle of the go-karts, there was a UFO crash that just appeared one weekend, and then there was the bridge over, I believe it was between Goliath and Yukon there, like by the Camp Cartoon. That ended up being decorated a few weekends in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think like that's a theme. I think even at the beginning of the season is just how impactful the music is in, keeping people within the, just within the atmosphere and not taking people out of it. And I think we had that, we had a little bit of that discussion last year. Maybe towards the end, we didn't hear the music, and then at the beginning of the season, bringing back even some of that old themed music. It really just helps tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have an agenda for tonight, if we were planning on walking through things in a systematic pattern, but just I'm so impressed with the year. I really, from the beginning and the doubters and Wrath isn't opening until the last week of Fright Fest and all the cynicism and just one thing after another went off like clockwork. It was a team of professionals just nailing it every inch of the way.
Yep. And Raging Bull looks great.
Yep.
Everything pretty much was ahead of schedule. I think they've been really good about not over promising, and they've been cautious with their timelines, and even Bowl got back faster than they initially promised.
And, we heard so many rumors out there about Max Force is done for the season. It's done for good. And sure enough, Max Force was back for Fright Fest as well.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca, they brought back a lot of theme music this year. It's not necessarily the original, but it is themed. And hopefully we'll hear it in more areas. I agree for the big 50.
Because I think Southwest still needs the Southwest before Fright Fest over the summer. I don't think there was any music playing in Southwest.
I don't know that they ever, so because it was added so much later, I don't know. I'm trying to remember because I did work at the park soon around the time that it opened. I don't know that it ever had its own theme music because it wouldn't have Marriott area or Marriott era music. And I don't know if maybe it just always played just some country music. So that might be somebody who worked in Southwest, and if you worked there in the late 90s, 2000s, I don't recall it having themed music in the same way that the other areas did.
I do know that Raging Bull and Goliath this year did bring back the original platform music, which I thought was great. Goliath sometimes was on, sometimes wasn't, but it was like that Roman, I don't know what you call it, the Roman gladiator theme. But it was cool hearing a lot of that music and the banjo music in Yukon, and it really, really, I think, is bringing back that feel of the Marriott era. And kudos to, the Six Flags team members that are really trying to preserve a lot of the history.
Because that didn't involve just programming that music. There, so many little rocks and tree elements where those speakers are. They probably had to go through and fix a lot of speakers too.
And I think they got a whole new speaker system.
Yeah.
Well, like they're really investing in that. And, let's hope. And I know they're still, working on like some of the demon features. I know they put lights in the tunnel, brand new lights, not just replacing the light bulbs, but LEDs, and they can do patterns. And I think that was working right at the end of Fright Fest. They had those on. So let's hope too that the original theming for the music for the demon comes back again. For that.
And I don't know if good.
I'm done.
Okay, I don't know if the park has an appreciation for exactly how much a theme park enthusiast can nerd out on this, but I enjoyed their little TikTok release where they had their guy standing out in front of Wrath talking about the tech and what he's put into the lighting going up that thing. I love that stuff. I would love it if they would walk through the demon tunnel and show it. It's one thing to see it when you're going 37 miles an hour through it and getting shaken all up. It's another thing to actually, I like that stuff, and I'm not sure if everyone else does, but I'm a big nerd for that, and I'd love to see the sound systems and the tech and the behind the scenes and how they make all the entertainment.
Oh, Rebecca brought up a great comment. They started, at the beginning or at the end of the 2024 season during Fright Fest, revamping Batman. And this year, I'm telling you, it ran like a champ, like with the fog in the station, all of the lights, the original Alfred, welcome back to the station, all the features, the cop car with the water. When you walk into the tunnel and you get the whoosh, whoosh with the rat sounds, and the Prince music from the Batman soundtrack. Like it sounded and felt just like it was 1992 again. I was much younger in 1992, but
Oh, amen. Oh, we lost you, Sarah. We don't have audio. Got it.
So yeah, I mean, it was like to just be on the Batman ride. It was an experience, and it was great to know that our park invested so much, and there was lighting everywhere. That's the other thing. At night, all new lighting in the landscaping, illuminating the ride, the fountain. I'm a huge stickler to detail. I love detail. And for example, in that park entrance, when you go into the ride queue, there's that pineapple fountain, and that fountain's always been there. That fountain has not worked or worked very poorly for years, and that literally looked brand new. Like the whole pineapple fountain, the whole season was lit up, flowing water. It looked amazing.
Was it just the beginning of this year when they repainted the big fountain, the big pond in front?
Oh yeah, that was this year.
Yeah, because that thing was pretty chewed up, and now that looks great. Are we even able to talk? Was the whole entrance redesign was the beginning of this year, wasn't it? With the removal of those gates, and now how much more expansive it is. You walk in and you're not double stacked and piled into people, and yeah, it's an easier flow. All over some pretty great improvements. I'm sitting here now. I want to nitpick something. I want to come up with something bad, and I'm going to have a hard time. Give me a
minute. Here's what I will say. I'll nitpick that.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, it's not bad. I think one area that still they finally take down the Hurricane Harbor signage over in the old entrance. That is another fountain that has a potential to be a beautiful area now that it doesn't have to be a smoking area. It would be nice to see either putting a stand right there of some sort, or just calling it some kind of I know when I went to New England, they had little like respite areas, and so maybe calling it like really doing something to that space now that it's like, so then we forget that it's used to be an entrance to Hurricane Harbor.
Does it have shade barriers over the top of it, or whatever you'd call those scrims?
No,
it doesn't, but it could.
It could. That could be a great area for
They did get that Hurricane Harbor entrance, old entrance fountain running again, which had not been running for.
Oh, that's easily.
Yeah, it was late summer. The fountain, they took the cover off and it was all running again. Which
I really think that they need a little more landscaping, some weeding around it, and it could be like designating an area like a rest area is something that's a nice amenity that doesn't take that much just to call it that, for like if somebody's especially in that area with so many thrill rides, and you've got like a chaperone or something and they're sitting, it's nice to have those. I know when we visited other parks, they had them, and it was really nice for like my parents to know, oh, that's where I'll sit. I'll see you later. So.
Yeah. Where else out there? So there are some picnic tables a little further in front of the Chubasco, right? Am I saying that right? Yeah, there's some picnic tables there, but no shade that I can remember. So if you want shade, something over there needs.
I mean, that would just be such a lush green area, and like with the fountain, it would just like feel like a nice place to sit.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah, water rides open. Yeah. Yep, Lisa.
Yeah, the water rides were open well into Fright Fest.
Yep.
Yeah, I got my October ride on Roarin'. Oops, sorry.
Let's hope that I know the blasters ended up not working towards the end of the season. Let's hope they are fixed for next year.
The Pirates were a little upset about that.
Yarr.
So I'm trying to think, what other things did we see come in 2025? We had the scanning of the drink bottles, which at first it was a major freak out point. Everyone in the group was freaking out. Oh my God, when I never really waited in line to get a refill.
Yeah.
Well, they opened up so many refill only lines this year because that process goes so quickly that I think it really helped. And I think that's going to just knowing how the paper cups work. It's so quick.
And I'm hoping that that they were pretty much, I think, all open. UConn was open a lot. It would be nice to have another refill station towards the front of the park. Just, I don't know where, like Orleans maybe. But they even opened up the old, what was the one next to Sky Striker? That building right there that used to be the chicken place and then the cheesecake place. That was open towards the end of Fright Fest. And so it was so nice to have the one thing that I loved, and it was probably my top thing that the park did, was convert Strutters, Steelworks, and Yukon Barbecue to more of a cafeteria setting, where I just remember how those first usually that first month that the park would always be open, you'd be waiting in line at Strutters, or and you'd have 30 people at the end all waiting for their number to be called, and it was a mess. And this year, I'm telling you, other than the drink bottles at the beginning, there really was no line throughout the whole year at those three places because of that cafeteria. You just walked right in, grabbed what you wanted, went to a cashier, and the wait was minimal.
It worked way better than I thought. I was chewing that up in my head as to, boy, that's going to be a disaster. They're going to have losses. There's going to be people picking up food and then unable to pay. I had all sorts of scenarios in my head, and it seemed like by the end of the season, I was a believer. They had a vision of a working system that I just didn't see. It worked. It worked well.
Water park food stands. I don't visit the water park, but I would agree that anything more that they could make it cafeteria style would be beneficial.
Yeah. I think it's really, it's all one continuous kitchen. So it would be kind of nice if that was looked at again. Because then there were some issues with the stand that has the chicken and the hot dog is supposed to be mobile order only for the dining plan, but then mobile order doesn't work, isn't on. And so yeah, it was that would be nice to see a process worked out there. It's also nice if the dining plan works there.
Was mobile order ever turned on this year?
Briefly, maybe the first couple weekends for very limited, like Antoine's maybe. And yeah, I think I did use it at Bourbon Street maybe one or two times.
Yeah, I was using that nonstop last year, and I was winning. I was doing it right and getting up there and getting my food a lot quicker than people who were standby. Things were working for me, but I was gaming it. This new system seems equitable for all. It's just working better on the main restaurant side.
Anything else that we can think of from 2025?
Let's see. Do we have any new festivals
in the summer?
The parade.
Yeah. Show and the parade were new.
Relocating the Boo Fest activities was a change.
I loved where it was. That was nice to have like Boo Fest just kind of live in a hometown square. That the character, and then keeping the characters inside, it was a little easier to find everything. That was really, and the corn maze was actually pretty for the space that they had. It was really nicely done.
And not to totally once again bring up and dwell on the activations with that lantern, but there was one bench right up in the front to the left of the carousel with a large, creepy, jumping character that would move out toward the bench where people just unsuspectingly thought they could relax, but not when I'm in the park, they couldn't. That was great. Love that. Whoever's in charge of that, do that again, please.
And I think some of the feedback, we had a lot of 10 o'clock closes. We had a lot more 10 o'clock closes this summer, like basically most of the month of July.
Yeah. You looked at the park hours for a lot of Cedar Fair and Six Flags parks, and a lot of weekly nights that, were cut shorter, and ours was longer.
Yeah.
We also had
some overall,
I was going to say,
great things
in terms of hours, we had longer Fright Fest hours on Saturdays.
Oh yeah, midnights.
A lot of midnights. this year.
Yeah, a lot of midnights.
And I swear, my daughter decided she would be the last employee out, like every night.
I feel like this was a banner year for safety, for good family feelings in the park. I don't know. Some people might come back at me on that, but I never had any negative experience. I always felt super safe and secure. I always really have, truly. But there's a police presence, there's a security presence. The park is doing good, and they were enforcing rules. They were enforcing the at least the times I saw, they were enforcing the what do we call the parking, the thing over there?
Preferred.
Preferred.
Preferred. Thank you. My gosh, I had every word in the world except preferred in my head. Yeah, they were enforcing preferred parking. I saw a lot of enforcement of the smoking. I saw enforcement of the vaping. It was a better family experience to me this year.
I will say
and
that
the vaping's so hard because they're so quick.
I will say that I utilize the report a line jumper, texting quite a bit, and every time but one, they responded quickly, took care of it, and people were kicked out of line. So it was very refreshing to see that.
Kudos to the park. Yeah, absolutely.
And our ride operators, you can tell that they know that they're going to have some backup. They seemed much more empowered to, at least, if there was a unit supervisor, they're just really empowered to enforce those rules and, get stern when needed with guests regarding cell phones or materials, or even, sitting on railings. And just say, hey, you can follow the rules or I will call security. They were working together.
Okay, so I'm going to say something about the City on Railings that made me absolutely laugh yesterday. So I was looking up old videos of Six Flags and then Marriott, and I came across a home video of the area that would have been, I guess now Batman, but it was like the tidal wave. Now, granted, I had never been to the park when it was tidal wave, and you could, as clear as day, hear in the video someone being yelled at for sitting on the railing back in tidal wave's queue line, and it made me laugh. And I was like, "Well, I see they have a problem back in the '80s as well." Like, I mean, it was someone on the intercom system going, "Please do not sit on the metal railing. You will be kicked out." Like and I just had to laugh because I was like, "Oh." Things never change. It was just so funny to hear that, in the video.
Some things never change, but then there's some things that, watching those videos from the 70s and early 80s, I'm just laughing when people start to disembark the ride and it's still moving. It's some good stuff.
Right, like the orbit's still in motion or Fiddler's Sling and people are already getting off.
Yep.
Hey, they got to keep the line moving.
Yeah, right. I mean, all up, 2025 was a great season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's happening in 2026, and it's oh, look at that! It's
there you go.
It's exciting to see, and I will say that I have been going down memory lane. It was something actually I brought up to Bob a while ago, and during the summer, about looking at past rides, because we all like to look at history, and like someone like me, I'm not from the area, so I did visit Six Flags. With my band trips back in the day, but I never went because I didn't live around here. So looking at old rides, because I did ride Shockwave at one point. I did ride, older Trip or Skywhirl, and those kind of rides. But I never got to ride Deja Vu because it was like I only came twice when it was there, and so it was just fun when I start looking at Marriott days and how it started. And I originally had just planned on starting with the first ride, Gulf Coaster, that was taken out of the park after year one. And then to see what else transpired from there, it was fascinating. Old commercials, old, stories from employees. And, to look at all of these people that the memories and like what they remember from, the season 1 or working there season 1. We had someone reach out. His name was John, and he was a juggler for the circus. And I was like, there was a circus? Like, I never knew that whole structure by American Eagle that is now, I think it was like Wiggles World, but it's now, I don't know what it is now.
Kidsopolis.
Haunted house.
Right. Big Top Haunted House. That was an actual circus. Like, it looks like a circus because it was a circus. And I never knew that there were elephants and jugglers. And to hear like this former juggler in the first 3 years, and over again, what I have heard is the level of camaraderie and friendships and couples that like they met at Marriott, and this was where their families went. And this is like something that was so new, and walking into the park and being in awe of what they saw, and the amount of stories and like the behind the scenes pictures, and it's just fascinating to me. And then Von
Keep
Roll.
sending them.
Yes, please keep sending them. So the first thing that really, really stuck in my head was, so we used to have 2 gondola rides, Delta, which by the way, I never understood the whole Delta flyer and flight. Like, I didn't know it was the same ride. It was just 2 different stations. And then we had a taller one, which was Southern Cross. Well, the son of the family name of Von Roll, the father is the one that like was in charge of the manufacture of these rides. He was keeping his legacy and reached out and said, yeah, here's stories behind these 2 rides. And it was like, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And then someone else reached out and said, let's get in touch with Schwarzkopf, which is many rides at Six Flags that still exist, like Fiddler's Fling, and former rides like Orbit, and then like Whizzer. And like the fact that these are the descendants and relatives of the people that built our park, it's just fascinating to me. And so it's like, here I am. I'm really only in the 80s right now. I think we're at like 1984, 85. The most recent ride removal was the Ferris wheel, which, by the way, we've only ever found 1 photo. So if anyone has photos of the Ferris, like that ride
it was basically where Goliath is now, right?
Well, I found out that the train station was moved over. So the train station was moved towards more where Goliath was. And they moved it, like if you're looking at the train station, they moved it to the right to be closer to, well, what's now the Funnel Cake building. But that's where the Ferris wheel was. The Ferris wheel was between.
But that Funnel Cake building
was Eagle's flight. But it was between,
that was the station.
It was between that building and the train station.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
must have been rotated that way then, because there wouldn't have been room width-wise, right? Okay.
Yeah. So it's fascinating, like just watching that. And so
well, and it's also cool to think of some of the stations that have just been repurposed, like that Goliath station, how many different how that's been repurposed with different rides.
Iron Force, Z-Wolf.
Z-Force. Z-Force.
Z-Force was there.
That's the same station.
I saw Z-Force my first visit. I never rode it, but like that's a pretty lucky one to have seen. It was so short.
Rode it. Also rode Turn of the Century before it became Loops and Demon.
I rode Z-Force. I never rode. I was too small for Turn of the Century.
And Turn of the Century, listening to some stories about that, it was like people were like, those bunny hills before the loops, they said were something else.
Floaters, yeah, big time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize until just now how much less spans the 2 loops took than the bunny hills, because it was bunny hill, with the floating 0G moment, and another one, and then it was basically right into the rise for the back half, the corkscrew set. And now there's that length of tunnel in there. So the span of space that the 2 loops take up is seemingly a lot more compact than the humps were.
Yeah, I'm loving listening to all the stories and listening to seeing all the old pictures and
Do you think they'll let you into storage to see Shockwave?
You have right. Okay. So speaking of rumors about Shockwave, I've always I would love, legitimately, I would pay money for like a VIP tour just to walk backstage to see what's
Amen, brother.
That to me, I just love it. And there's always been rumors. There was an original merry-go-round, which was where Revolution was. And I think it was
it was an historic ride. I don't think it was, if I recall, it wasn't like just built for Six Flags. It was one of those historic, I think it came from somewhere else, but I could be wrong. I think there's a reason that they kept it, or that it's rumored to have been kept.
Is it right? It's a rumor. Is it still sitting in a storage area in the back? You don't know.
Be really great to see that pop up somewhere if it still existed.
I know.
But knowing how long St. Louis, they've just had a restore on their merry-go-round, and that took so long. I mean, some of these are
hand painted everything.
Very old. Yeah, they're truly very old, and it took a long time for theirs, if theirs is even done yet.
Yeah. It's so it'll be interesting to see, when the park opens in 2026, what are we going to see?
I hope we see some kind of history center. It would be really nice to see some of that, similar to how we have a ride graveyard, but framed in in one of our closed buildings, former stores. It would be so nice if somebody would just set up a little walkthrough. I know, at one point, many points during the years, and I think in the 25th anniversary, the original 3D model has come out and been displayed. It would be nice to have those come out again and see some old maps, see some old costumes that, have been on display or been, they used to be at wardrobe. You could just see them. So it would be really cool to see some of that kind of stuff in a walkthrough situation.
Maybe have theme costumes on rides. I think that's a little too much to ask, but that would be cool.
Well, it got hard. So if you want a little history back, because I did work for 1 year back in the time of costumes, where you would be issued your costume. If you changed work locations, you had to walk back to wardrobe, turn in your costume, and you had to change. So it was a whole logistic. I mean, I didn't work in an area where I had to, but for rides and for foods, it became a thing, because if you needed to move your people around, you had to leave enough time for them to go get the proper costume. And that was there was no getting around that. You could not have somebody that was in the Yankee Harbor stripe and go over to Yukon wearing, that burlap or whatever. So because you didn't take your costumes home, they had all your sizes, you'd give your ID, and then they'd give you your clothes, and then the end of the shift, you'd give them the dirty. It was kind of nice. The dirty ones, you have a clean one ready in your locker. But you did have to change your costume before you changed areas.
Bob, you had brought up something in conversation that I thought was fun about the signs about being retro.
Oh yeah, I would love this. Kurt and I were talking the other day, and it'd be great to see some of, even if the buildings don't get used, see old signage come back, like the Hot Shop. See that return. See some of just the original sign. Take Strutters and rename it Aunt Martha's. Just
and
let's just see some of those.
Let's have some Wascals back. We need some Wascals. That was my favorite.
There was one that I was laughing at. It was praline, petunias, pecan. It was 5 P words all together, and it was where I think Bourbon Street, that was all one place right there, the bar right there, and
it was a buffet, wasn't it?
It was not a buffet. there was something where it was like praline pecan, like it was hilarious. And it was like, how cool would that be to see all the buildings that are still there have signage back that mimicked what it was.
Yeah. They probably still, to be honest, have a lot of those signs.
Yeah.
And our paint shop is amazing at finding, like, somebody's got pictures of those and finding those kind of things.
You know, signs, old logos, bring it back.
I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, I would be, you know, I'm one of those people that'd be nerded out. Like I would absolutely love it.
Remember a couple years ago, I just thought when St. Louis had their 50th and the opening weekend, somebody had like lovingly made all the all the employees had 1971 era costumes. Like somebody had lovingly made every single one. Like, what if we came there for opening weekend and they were wearing like the opening year?
Oh, that would be so cool.
That'd be amazing.
I mean, and it was really cool to see that. I don't even know what you call it. The patriotic Bugs. He was in everything in those first, like with this hat, red, white, and blue. It'd be cool to see that. And I would love. I mean, again, I'm a nerd for this. I would love to see characters again, like, you know, Yosemite Sam, or Pepe Le Pew, or like you see some of these, you know, Foghorn Leghorn, Lola.
He exists.
Lola Bunny. You know, it's cool to see some of these.
Lola's been out a little bit.
Or Taz.
Yeah, Taz.
Taz would be great. I'd also like to see, you know, show-wise, in the Grand, throw a nod to all the past shows. That would be,
we could get a character show back.
Oh, a character show would be great.
I mean, little side fact, I don't know how many knew this about the Grand, but when it initially opened, it was a live band orchestra that played. There was an orchestra pit in front of the stage.
I know some people who played in it because there was an orchestra pit, and then they would also march through as a live band. So when you're in Fright Fest in Orleans Place and you see the skeletons wearing like the band uniforms, those are like what they were wearing. They would have also had like a marching band that came through.
Oh, and speaking of the Emporium, it'd be nice to have the Emporium open again.
Maybe it could be the museum. Maybe that's a great place to put
that would be
historic things, being that the flow. Maybe that's a good place for it to be.
The Emporium Museum, and then a decade show.
Right. Or have I want to see a 50th anniversary shop.
That'd be great.
I mean, we've got Scream Shop that could get repurposed. It's not being used until Fright Fest, so we can always sell some 50th merch out of there.
Gosh, that'd be great. Yeah. If we're dreaming big, I would love to see Wilderness Theater used again. I would love to see Theater Royale used. Oh, someone just mentioned that in the chat.
There you go. Just in time. Yeah.
Used again.
It'd be nice to have the artisans. Like, I don't know if people, like, that's another thing is they're used similar to like Dollywood. There used to be like artisans. So there was a glass blower, and then there was someone that would do like, you could get your name in wood. So there was like a woodworker. There was an actual leather, like, so there were artisans there. It would be cool to, see. I know it'd be cool to see some of that return.
Something I noticed when looking at footage, which I did not realize, again, one of those things where I just see it and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Is that the amount of live bands, like marching bands, like legit marching bands going around, around the carousel, like almost the parade route is what it is. And how cool it would be to invite, local bands to actually come and march, like marching bands, like to march through and almost like revisit those old time Marriott.
The Mouse lets the marching bands march down Main Street. The Mouse still lets them do that. Music in the Park is not music in the parks. That's music at a neighboring high school can drive over and play in the park. I mean, like music in the park, I think used to have a little element of that. And then it got to the point where they would play on Six Flags Hill, which isn't a thing anymore. But it would be nice to have the music in the parks. And it's like a win-win because the students are having a great experience and the park isn't having to pay for it.
That's what I didn't know what those agreements looked like, but boy, if they're looking for a place to get to present to people and do that, and then the park is looking for entertainment and it's just going to be symbiotic, that's great.
Yeah, music in the parks, they play at a little adjudicated festival with some music teachers that judge it, and then they come and play in the park. So really it's just it's another form of group sales. So the park doesn't pay for it. They actually are packing with the kids coming and enjoying the day. So it'd be kind of cool. I don't know why that part stopped. I do know that once the metal detectors came in, it was a little bit of to try to get everybody with their instruments in to perform. But I mean, I don't know if maybe that's why it is, but they did used to perform in the park, and then it moved to right outside of the park. And then at some point, probably when I wasn't really coming that much, it moved to playing at a local school.
So I know that we are going to see some changes in 2026. I know one right off the bat is Fast Lane is going to be the new thing. And
so we are and when we're looking at changes, it's interesting to go into Cedar Fair groups and into different Six Flags groups. And this is kind of organizational change happens. So we had the announcement at the end of 2024 that the parks were the brands were going to be under one umbrella. And then there's been a little bit of parallel changes in 2025, so nothing too major. And then 2026 is when we're going to naturally see things try to become more uniform across the product. So the first major change is that the passes are going to be on the same app. So we're not having to jump around different apps. And then along with that is some streamlining of products such as Flash Pass and what do they call the other?
Fast Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I'm really want to see how Fastlane is going to work in terms of the distribution system, because you are now back in line picking up a wristband, kind of going back in time a little bit here when the Flash Pass folks had to stop by the building to pick up the little a wristband or the little watch. But yeah,
I mean, I know walking into Cedar Point, one of the first things you see is a massive building that says, it's your pickup place where you pick up if you redeem your meals, whatever you've purchased online, you pick it up right when you get in, and it looks massive.
And when I went there this summer, I mean, I didn't wait more than maybe 2 minutes to pick up my Fast Lane. So, and it actually went well. I liked my Fast Lane. It was, so as we know, the Flash Pass was digital on our phone. So you had to have your phone on you. And then like at Cedar Point, you can't have your phone on you. They require you to use lockers. So they gave you a wristband, kind of like what you'd have if you went into like a bar or something. And it had a barcode on it, and you had to pick that up, and you just scanned it next to the attendant. And there was no, as Bob said, like a lead time or a wait time. You just could scan it and walk in line. But, the wait, it's also Cedar Point, so it was busy. But the wait was not, instantaneous where you just walk right up. There was a, 15 to 25-minute wait on some rides in the Fast Lane.
Yeah, and I think it's nice to not have those tiers where they're trying to you have 90% less wait and you have 10% less weight and you have 50, that's not a thing. It's just, it's going to just one level, and it's just the amount of rides that you get.
Yeah.
So and the ride list, the only ride list that I have seen, and it makes me think that when the actual season opens, we're going to see a second list. But the one that's published on the park's website actually says single day flash pass or fast lane attractions. I have not seen one that says season, because right now on the fast lane there is no Wrath of Rakshasa, there's no Max Force, and I think Sky Striker was missing.
No, it was 2. There was 2.
Two. That's right. So it was Max and Wrath they're missing, but I don't see them not having them included on the fast lane.
Yeah, I just don't think we've seen everything updated yet, since we have a few months to go. I mean, we still have 4 or 5 months, depending when they announce opening date.
If they're trying to decide what goes with which tiers, because it's possible that those will only be in a higher tier, then maybe that's something we'll see later, right?
Well, we only have one tier. We have fast lane, unlike a park like Cedar Point, where they have fast lane and then they have fast lane plus.
Okay.
Where some of the more popular newer attractions are.
Do we think we might get fast lane plus?
I can't imagine them having it, because they would have offered it already for sale for people that would want to buy it.
Unless they did an upgrade. We'll see what happens.
Be a really easy way.
What about dining, Sarah? What's coming up with
dining?
I know
you've seen some stuff with dining.
So we weren't Chicken Little. Like, it is true. We're going to see some streamlining of the dining plans, although I did hear that there's still some consideration of, things still could change. We have had, unfortunately, I've seen now out of Texas, people who have been very surprised visiting, and 1 week they have their snack, and the next week all of a sudden they don't have their snack, and they have a 4-hour wait. So looking at legacy member dining. So if you purchase dining at the end of the season for 2026, and it's a 1-year thing, no one's messed with what you bought. No one's messed with it at all. But if you are someone like me, I think Bob you have legacy, Kirk, you have legacy.
Mm-hmm. Brent has legacy.
And you've been paying monthly for your dining since 2018, whenever you got your pass, whenever you got your membership. So anywhere between like 2018 and 2021, whenever they changed it. You haven't really seen a change for the worse. Now, I will say that there's, we can't say my contract I signed says that my meal is every 90 minutes. Not what your contract says, because when we first got our dining, we were in set dining times. So it was like 11:30 to 3:30, and then 4:30 to 7:30 or 8. That changed a little bit. So you could only use meal 1 in the first and meal 2 in the second. And it was horrible, because everyone, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my meal. So from 3 to 3:30, that line would like go forever. And then everyone was like sitting, refreshing their phones at like 4:25. Then we changed to some windows. And I think our original window may have been a couple hours, wasn't it? I don't think it was 90 minutes. We changed to windows, and at one point for our park in there, we could actually use a meal for a game. We had that option as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just to relieve the line. So there were a couple seasons they piloted it at our park where you could use a snack for $5 at a game and a meal for $10 at a game. So as far as I know, we were the only park that had that, because it was a pilot. And I think part of the reason is that line was so ridiculous. So now the proposal is to take that 90-minute, we had our meals, we had our snacks. Some people at one point even had a dessert. So there were meal plans in the middle of this. If you bought it a certain time, because I know my mom had it on her Gold Plus, where you could have had for a season 2 meals, a snack, and a dessert. And so like that never continued, but at some point people had those plans. So the change is that all dining would go to the 2-meal plan. Would be 2, and that's what people in Texas are seeing all of a sudden, that what they thought would be I know. I
Yep.
mean, that is taking something away. So it's one thing to say now that you have a 4-hour wait. I think people would be a lot more amenable to you have a 4-hour wait instead of a 90-minute wait. Like, it would suck, but that makes sense. But then to take the snack away, that's taking a significant piece with taking the meal away, it is taking a significant piece of value. And many, many, many people who have legacy passes only hold on to it because of that dining.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even I have one person, I have 2 employees who live in my house, and one who lives most of the year out of state. They've held on to theirs because the dining is so cool. Like, okay, we'll hold on to the dining, and we're paying a lot for if you have a diamond, whatever they call the, I know if you have the highest tier is everyone's Diamond Elite VIP, it's still with dining and Flash Pass, whatever you have added, it's a significant cost when we're looking at it over the course of the year and the fact that we've been paying continuously. So then to start messing with the dining, it no longer carries that value to hold on to it as much. And especially if you're a Flash Pass holder, you don't really need your skip the lines. So I think that's the controversy. And then, park employees and park management were told that everyone was noticed in email, and we were not. I have not found a single person. And then today, I think it was one of our members was on another group and said, because somebody said, well, there was an email, and she said, well, could you post a screenshot of the email? Because I've never seen it. And I said, yeah, could you post a screenshot? No screenshot. So we have seen before where corporate has said an email has been sent out and it hasn't. Like, maybe they forgot to put the BCC list on it. I don't know. But it was not there. So I think it is being looked at because a lot of the feedback from, I know, our group and others is, well, gee, I wouldn't have kept my legacy membership. I would have bailed and taken the Labor Day sale if I had known of this change, because now this does change the value of my pass. And now we've lost that part. So I think I think more feedback, like in the group of, what we would like to see would be great. I just think we could go with the 4-hour if we still had our snack, and to just take that. And for many people who have used they've run into a problem where they thought they were using their snack and someone took their first meal, then they go to have their meal and they can't because they just ate a pretzel. So it's an unwelcome surprise to park goers. I mean, we are a little, we're seeing opening. We haven't seen our opening day, but we have the benefit of watching all of these changes happen. And, this is a little early. Like, many people were waiting for changes to happen in January, and they're starting to roll over as the systems merge. So we get to see it and, feel for people, but we will be prepared by the time it happens to us. But that I could imagine if that had happened in October for us to all of a sudden be like, no, you don't have this benefit anymore that you pay for, would be really tough.
I do just hope they look back to history and remember in the times where there was only a small window during the day where you could get your meal, because effectively on a shorter day with a 4-hour gap, everyone's back into those tight windows. And I'm just fearful of the mob scenes in the food court that used to be. And it's not a violent mob, but it's definitely one where you have to bring all of your patients and then everyone else's.
Yeah.
It's rough when it's.
I mean, if you weren't, I mean, a lot of it, we say the food lines move really, really effectively. They did not when we had set meal times. And I will repost at some point my little guide about when you should plan to get your meal. But looking at the very beginning of the season, that is going to be a complete mess. Or people like, not everyone wants a 4-hour visit. And it's like, well, essentially now I only have one meal where I used to be able to get, 3 things
and a snack.
Yeah. Now because my average visit time might be 2.5 hours, now I'm not going to stick around. Now I did confirm with multiple sources that that no one has heard talk of discounts being, discount levels and other kind of benefits changing. So I did hear that.
See you, Brent. Thanks for joining us.
So because I was concerned that the Diamond Elite benefits would downsize into a prestige membership. So far it looks like none of the skip the lines or any of the discounts have been changed. And now, of course, but I think that's a significant change. And I think that it needed to be noticed, like noticed as in an email and a choice. And you can't just say, I sent it, because I would say, when did you send it? What's the date on it? Can you resend it? And that's what I did last time when they first changed when we had the first price hike that was like $4 a month. And they said they sent it, and some people at some parks got it and some didn't. I went online. I was like, well, what date did you send it? What, can I have a copy of it? And they couldn't provide it. So it's unfortunate.
Let's hope that, let's just hope that things change for until then. And the snack is the same, and they're trying things out and it doesn't work. And so when our park opens, maybe cautiously optimistic.
I have heard that there are some ideas being floated around to kind of meet in the middle. And because I do not think that they anticipated the amount of people who are very seriously like, why do I need to keep my membership? Because in my house alone, I would drop at least 2 memberships over it, at over $300 a year a piece. So hopefully there's some give on it. We'll just start to see Magic Mountain. People are reporting some things that are, because that's usually when we can watch, because they're open all year. It's like one time it does and one time it doesn't work for a snack. So it's still kind of inconsistent, but we are hearing like Texas, they're just, the cashiers are straight out telling people, no, you don't have a snack anymore. It's not a thing.
Something about Texas that I thought was interesting is that they announced that they are going to be closed for a portion of the winter here for beautification.
And I think they did close last year too.
They did, okay. Because I thought that was interesting how I'm like, maybe our park is going to, have some more beautification when we open this fall, or this fall, not this fall, this spring.
In the spring. Come back to the fall for Fright Fest.
Right? No, he's in the Southern Hemisphere. It'll be fall.
I always just think, I'm like, I hope, at some point, maybe the X Flight blasters will work again. The water cannons, the waterfall on Demon. I would love to see all that.
Seeing the greenhouses grow things again is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a great things, like we're looking ahead to 2026. I know that we'll have more beautification. I'd love to see, I know there's some buildings that can't run anymore, or can't open anymore, but I would love to see more things open and, really one thing that we lost, we used to have a nice covered, like, I don't know what to call it. You have a little tunnel that's covered in greenery. We used to have those kind of shaded.
I don't want to say trellis, but I'm not.
But it's not trellis. Trellis tunnel. Right. It'd be nice to have some kind of things like that.
It is called a polytunnel.
Oh.
Ooh.
I Googled it. It says it's called a polytunnel, which is a covered structure for growing plants that makes the structure.
We just used to have some really nice, lush places to sit, and it would be nice to have some of those back. St. Louis has them too. We lost ours just because the walk that used to be going into, there's no space where it used to be.
Wasn't it by Skywhirl?
Yeah, it was in Hay Baler, which is the best ride ever.
Which one was Hay Baler?
You could never find it. Basically where Hay Baler, it would go up and down and swing. So it would kind of go in a circle up and down and swing, and it was the best ride, but it was kind of hard to find. I think basically where Rath's Q is right now is where Hay Baler was.
Was it like a Himalaya?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
What was the ride called that was like Gravitron, where it sucked you on the side? Was that Cajun Cliffhanger?
Yes. Cajun Cliffhanger.
That one I saw. That was over kind of by like Batman, wasn't it?
Yeah, like around the other side of the bridge. So in Orleans.
Orleans there.
Kind of where the low sensory zone in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I was just fascinated looking at all these things. And a little side note coming up, a ride that I never even knew existed. And again, it might even be rarer than the Ferris wheel. Did you know that there was a kids bumper cars that was close to the bumper cars we currently have, but it was named after a son, and it was called David's La Bump. And it was kind of where the building existed up until Raging Cajun came, and then they tore the building down. But it existed for a few seasons over in Orleans, and it was a kid's bumper car. Called La Bump. But we have one photo that we have found of it. So
if you have a picture, seriously, over COVID, I believe, or maybe one off season, we did photo trains and said spam us with everything from like 1991 and spam us and we had so many cool pictures that people sent of like their personal pictures. If you have some of these rare ride pictures, send them. You can feature watermark on the photo like your info. You can do whatever you want, but it'd be very cool to feature some of these because that's where the cool stuff happens. With people just find these random pictures.
Trailblazer.
Yep, they finally took the platform down. Quite a few years ago, but I believe that arcade was always designed. There was more of an arcade back there where the house is now, and it was always designed, like it was actually designed to be on a house / arcade. So that space was always designed to be used for both, if I recall correctly.
And I remember Southwest, if I remember right, and I think they just removed it a few years ago, but there used to be too, like a wishing well with a stage right in front of like that open area where Chubasco and the sitting area. And there used to be like an actual well of water that like a stream that went right there.
Yeah. I think, it was designed to be like one of those panning. I don't know that it ever did though. Some of those places have those like panning for gold type activities. But yeah, there used to be shows there, themed shows there, like almost like a gallows that would
and
be right there.
a little fun little side note, and I took a picture of it, I think 2 years ago. So did you know, do you guys even know where Honky Tonk was, that little inset that has been Honky Tonk in Southwest, that show they had, was kind of inset a little bit to the left of the patio for, I forgot the name of the restaurant.
Windy City.
Yeah, thank you. Windy City. And what that used to be originally, because you can actually see it still behind the Honky Tonk stage.
The basketball or before the basketball?
The basketball. It was a basketball game, and you can still see a directions sign that is up there about making one shot. And it's like faded in the sunlight.
That games gallery used to be so cool because there was up even into the probably 2010s, there was a quarter game that you could play, like almost like a colors game, with quarters, or it was throw a quarter. So that was there, and then there was a shooting, or no, the shooting gallery was over
by Ricochet, right?
There was a shooting gallery there, but I don't know. Maybe it started over where the watering hole is. But yeah, there were a lot of fun, like little games there. Now it's all claw machines and arcades because they don't cost money. There was skee ball right across from where Wrath is right now. And
I
then
remember. Go ahead.
Our guessers.
Or what?
The guessers. Amazing Alfredo.
Yeah, Alfredo. And maybe one of these days we'll have water under the pirate ship again in Southwest. What is that called? The
River Rocker.
River Rocker. Jeez, can't think of it.
Oh, thank you, James, Jiggity NDG. It was 3 hours. You're right. We did have no. Maybe we all had 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours was more reasonable.
Yeah, they moved it to 3 hours and then 4.
Honestly, if it was 3 hours, most people would get something snack-like for their second thing anyway. So in the long run, I think it saves food costs. I don't know.
So I'm excited to see what 2026 brings for our 50th.
Hopefully we'll get some more floats going.
Oh, I love the floats.
Yeah.
There used to be one for every part of the park, and then and then Rex, right?
Yeah, Rex. So Rex originally was like had a little, like the little heart-shaped handles that people hold, when the dancers are on them, they hold.
So hold on, Kirk, real quick. For those who are like, what in the world is Rex? So if you're watching the Uprising Parade, the one float that comes out, that's referred to as Rex. Go ahead.
No clue why it's actually referred to as Rex, but it's named Rex. And so Rex is an original float. And if you look at old photos, there are, I wish I had the side-by-side, which I'll post a side-by-side photo of now versus them. But like the current float that has the 6-flag center that spins, there are 4 handles and what looked like flat pieces that was giant petals to like a flower or a lily from the old 1976 float. And the frame is still the same. And the fact that nearly 50 years later, that float is still kicking along, it's pretty impressive. It would be lovely to have those original floats back, or, have more floats. I would love to see that.
I know it's got to be hard to keep them going, but yeah, more floats. I know Rex got the silver treatment for the 25th anniversary. What is 50? Is 50 gold?
Gold.
Oh, so we should be seeing a lot of gold around.
So it's a long way away.
I would buy a 50th anniversary Spirit jersey. That was a really cool find when we got Spirit jerseys for Fright Fest. So it would be really cool to get some more a 50th anniversary Spirit jersey, I would pay for that.
Park specific, like, be cool to have Marriott, Six Flags, like a.
I don't think they can use Marriott,
probably.
but
Great America. We could
they
use
can use Great America. Yeah, I don't think they can use Marriott's, but having that old, I know I've found prizes that I've won prizes in the past that have had that old
star, like.
Yeah, that's still around. But I mean, could you imagine getting a Spirit jersey with like a gold carousel in the back?
That'd be so cool.
Be very cool.
Just a Great America, like old star with gold carousel on it for 50th, like that. I would buy that.
And if the carousel went back to gold, so the carousel has had some paint jobs before. The last one was or the one that happened when I worked there was to match it more with California's Great America. So, but at one point it had more of like a gold and then pastel. I don't know. I don't know if they would put the gold back on the carousel. It's had some different colors. It would be interesting to find pictures. I'd love to like make a montage to see like, let AI do it even to see like how some of the color schemes have changed on some of these.
Well, now you've given me an assignment that I will definitely
find the different color iterations of the carousel.
Did not know the carousel had different colors.
Yeah. So I think it was originally, maybe, I'm not sure what the original was, but I know that it was through the 90s and early. I don't know when they did it. It was like kind of gold and pink and pastel. And then it got the red, white, and blue treatment.
I also heard, no clue if this is true, but in my deep dives of old rides, I also heard that Viper originally had animatronics in their queue. And you know how there's like different like insets, like closets and stuff like that. You can see like barrels and stuff like that. There used to be like an animatronic snake that would come out of a barrel. And now I have seen like what looks like it could be an old animatronic. Like, of course it's not working, but I've heard that there was more like of an immersive like ride queue, like a few animatronics here and there of things that moved while you waited in line of Viper. Now I have no clue if that's true, so I'm trying to find that as well.
Never saw it. I remember the insets and thinking they were interesting, but always having garbage cans in them. So I never saw the animatronics. Doesn't mean they weren't there.
Oh, someone confirmed.
Scared me back then. Okay.
Interesting. See, now I have to find that too. Snakes and pigs.
Okay.
Huh. Oh, multiple people.
Okay, confirmed.
Apparently, that people are like, I never remember a snake, and I don't even like. That's crazy. So now I need to find a snake.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, you can send it to our page. You can message to our page. We have an open Gmail too, right?
Yeah, the Gmail, the sfgamjunkies@gmail.com. You can email
if you are somebody like that wants to contribute behind the scenes, Kirk can is generally, you've been answering a lot of the messages to that effect on our page, on our public page. We would love any of these memories and any of these pictures or any insight, things that maybe we didn't pick. We all kind of have blank spots where we weren't really at the park lot. For me, it's when I had like a lot of young kids and it was just so overwhelming and I wasn't going.
We'll take any photos. Like right now we're currently on the 80s, but like, let's say you were there when Southwest, came in, I don't know what, 1996 or whatever it was, 1982 or whatever year it was. If you have opening photos of that, or even like, hey, I was there opening day of Deja Vu, like all of those things. When we get to we're going to spend the next 4 months.
I got you on Deja Vu. I was at employee ride night for Deja Vu.
Wait, there was snakes hanging when you go into the brake run? I
don't remember that.
I don't recall that, but I believe Vita.
Yeah,
on this
that's
one,
crazy.
definitely.
Well, now I have to look for that too, because there's going to be old POV rides, possibly.
Back when it was allowed.
Yeah,
when it was allowed. Yep,
because you'd have a camcorder
with the VHS tape in it.
By the way, I found a POV. Did you know that? Did you know they allowed a dog to ride American Eagle?
Yes.
That's cruel for that dog.
Like way back when. But anyway.
I mean, you had that duck. You had the duck that snuck onto a Millennium Force at Cedar Point.
Somebody took a goat to Holiday in the Park lights.
Oh, the drive-through?
Yeah, the goat. From what I understand, the goat enjoyed it. Park employees enjoyed it.
What, the goat? Yeah, Brent did it. It was Brent's goat.
Yeah, it was Brent's goat. It even had like a Santa hat on, or an elf hat. It had a costume on. That's all I remember.
The video was like, "Oh my God, is that a goat?"
So, it was great reminiscing.
Yeah, rare character, whatever you have, like insight that you have, or if you've got like a moment in time of a ride, especially we're looking at the carousel. People have those opening. I'd love to see the keyhole pictures come back. Those are so cool.
I have.
Yeah, and if you're sharing, the pictures, videos with us, keep in mind the park may see them. They may want to borrow them. We don't. We'd get the park in contact with you. We just don't send your photos off to the park. Say, here, go ahead and use these. No, they'll get your permission before they use them.
I mean, some of my core is when they had the VIP, you could get an upgrade and see Marky Mark. And I have not found any like proof of that, but I remember that you could have your pass or get the VIP pass, and they had like a concert series one year. So if you've got information on when they had the concert series, or even like your little VIP pass, like I would love to see that. That's so cool. And then I remember when you used to be able to get embroidered sailor hats right where the cotton candy is behind the carousel. Like if you've got a picture of those kinds of things, or going into the glass or some of the shops, those kind of things would be really cool to see.
And Jonas Brothers performed in Hometown.
So did Danity Kane.
I don't know who that is.
They were making the band.
Oh.
They were probably I won't go back because there was somebody else who's incarcerated, hopefully now, that was a part of that. But yeah, and the green room for those is above. If you ever go above the Emporium, that was the green room for talents. Like, and I guess that was originally going to be an apartment similar to like the Disney apartment. But yeah, Scream. I hope they re-release Screams they still do make their fudge. Trudy's was up where the Flash Pass, or what do they call it now? Fast Lane is going to be. The Flash Pass GR was the candy shop. It's moved a couple places. Yes, Blown Glass. I remember like walking in and being told, don't touch anything. Don't move the wrong way, because there were some gorgeous things there. Twickets. If you have like an old Twicket, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool to watch them make it.
Yeah, they would actually like be in there blowing glass and stuff. It was like they had true artisans. You could see like the leather maker would like be making the leather things that they sold, and you like the woodworking guy, like if you wanted something with your name, he'd go like carve your name and you could personalize it. It was very cool. Or get like a thing for your house that had your address and your name. It was very cool. And then they used to have lumberjacks in Yukon.
Like in the water, like in the logs.
Yeah, log rolling.
Log rollers. I guess you maybe can't find lumberjacks.
I think Lars was out there.
Oh yeah, that was me. That was me out there with my chainsaw.
Yeah. So yeah, send us your stuff if you have it.
Yes, please do.
We're
obviously
diving
this stream here, this has gone, we're almost at 90 minutes now.
Yeah, we should probably.
We're gonna have streams that they are gonna go this long, but the one thing we do want to try this season too is to have mini streams. We don't have a name for it yet, but basically it's gonna be focused. So maybe we'll come on and we'll talk dining plan, and that's it. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we're done. We might talk fast lane. So if there's any specific topics that you want us to cover or talk about, leave in the comments, send us a message, email us.
We never got Bob lore. We teased Bob lore last year, and we never got Bob lore. We never did it.
Yeah, maybe we've got a lot going on this off season, with all the history and everything. So maybe next off season. Oh, look, jumping on just as we're getting ready to say goodbye, but we'll let Hector say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Hector. A lot of what we want to do is, as we see changes in off-season parks or parks that are open, to try to say, this is what's happening around the chain right now. Now that we're looking at other places, so our members will be so ready when we get to opening day for all the changes and know exactly what to do.
Like I said, it's times that we will talk for a while, but it's just stay focused and you're not having to watch or fast forward through an hour. Just
I don't know.
Middle topic.
I don't know if it was mentioned, but it'd be nice if they bought back the little mini thing of the park originally that they used to have in
the model, 3D. The 3D model.
Yes, the model. Yeah,
it's got to still exist. It's got to still.
It'd be cool. For the 50th, if they put that back out somewhere too for people to look at. Maybe in the firehouse, since they, where they did the trick or treat trail or something. Maybe they could use that for some old historical stuff.
I'm just here for the recording studio.
Dana says she mentioned that too. The recording studio used to be a Mardi Gras, where you can go in and record stuff. So if anybody's got recordings they'd like to share or something they'd like to share from that, it'd be kind of cool too.
I don't have the cassette tapes. One of my friends probably has it, or their parents have it. But you can go in there and choose your, that's back when it was you'd get a cassette with, and they'd play it out. You'd record it and they'd play it out to the park, so you knew that everyone would hear you sing. But there's one that we sang, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, in 7th or 8th grade.
It's nice they briefly used the Mardi Gras stage briefly during Fright Fest. I know they had a couple of the performers from Ringmasters out there a couple of weekends doing stuff, but if they were to use that stage for something this year.
There was a karaoke stage at one point. It lived there, and it also lived in
hometown
by X-Flight. It would be cool to have karaoke back too.
Yeah, Dana and one of our daughters karaoke'd out there one time. So.
I mean, that's free entertainment too.
Yep.
All right. Oh, thanks, Bob. Are you getting breaking news?
No. Just checking to see if there's anything there. I have no breaking news at the moment to share. So just wanted to check to be sure that, because I haven't looked down in a while.
I would breaking news. There will be a Spirit jersey.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. It has definitely been a while since we've done one of these. I know there was one that happened during Fright Fest, but as Fright Fest employees, a few of us are not able to participate in those. So it's great to be back, and send us those photos, send us those videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, everybody.